Hey guys, and welcome to episode 8 of Duelist Discussion. And that is not just one duelist, that's multiple, that's duelists, plural. And it's plural because joining me today is fellow co-host Ryan Drover.
Yes, that is me.
And Richard Burrell.
Hello, mate.
And I'm Devin Casey, and well, lots of stuff has happened over this past weekend.
Wait.
BlizzCon happened.
When did Richard become British?
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be real tan, and what'd you say, Japanese?
Yeah, he's Japanese and Indian, right? Or something like that.
Why does my race change every episode?
You're a chameleon, bro.
Chameleon. You know what I noticed? You could have chameleons all over your house and never even know it.
That's weird.
That is very weird.
Just stepping on them all over the ground.
Dude, I think that was a haiku.
Excellent.
So yeah, BlizzCon happened. It was pretty exciting. We pumped out 2 little small special coverage shows, and those are up on iTunes and on our site and Stitcher and all that good stuff. And we'll go into some of those in detail here in a second. And we'll also be talking about some next-gen stuff because that's happening in less than a week, I believe, right?
Yeah. Well, PS4 comes out the 15th, right? And then the Xbox One comes out on the 22nd, I think. Yeah, so.
PS4 comes first, I believe.
Yeah, it gets a week head start, but yeah. So I'm excited, even though I can't afford one right now.
Yeah. There's gonna be nothing to play anyway.
Well, I'm just looking forward to the reviews and see what everybody thinks, like IGN and everyone, and see it'll further help my decision. I know I'm gonna get a PS4, but
Your team PS4?
yeah, man, it's $100 cheaper. It's graphically more powerful, and I don't know. I like the change to the DualShock controller finally. How it's gonna be a little bit bulkier.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of problems going on with the Xbox One so far, and they've changed their game plan and all this other crap, and they're just I don't know. I feel like Microsoft's kind of nervous.
It seems like it. Both of the companies seem to be making little quips back and forth at each other. But what about you, Richard? Which team are you?
Team PS4.
Yeah.
That means I'm going to have to play Team Xbox One just to be contrary.
So we're going to have to strangle you to death.
You're the proto-hipster.
Proto-hipster?
Proto-hipster.
Is it a next generation hipsterness?
Yes, you're the hipster that everyone aspires to be. You know that's like a line from GTA 5, right? Oh yeah, you two didn't.
Proto-hipster?
Yeah. I know it.
I don't know it.
Michael was called a proto-hipster, wasn't it? No, he called Trevor a proto-hipster.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was good stuff. He was like, I'm not a hipster. But yeah, this is not primarily a next-gen podcast. This is primarily a Hearthstone podcast.
Yeah.
And speaking of Hearthstone, the whole theme of Hearthstone is obviously a tavern, an inn kind of setting. And to kind of take it a little literally, I was wondering, is a tavern or an inn really a suitable place to play a tabletop game? I mean, back in the day, I suppose it might have been, but with like ale and beds and like a warm fireplace, and it makes sense in a fantasy setting, but like realistically, like there's noise, there's strangers, and like, these days, modern times, you need to buy a room to make your presence appropriate. You can't just go into a Super 8 and sit in the lobby and set up a tabletop game.
It's not like a bar or anything.
Right. They're like, can I help you?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people do that. And like I've been working in restaurants forever. And when I worked at this pizza joint, these people used to come in real late, like 11 o'clock, like an hour before we closed. And they'd sit at the table and they'd get like appetizers and just waters, and they'd play like Magic the Gathering for like hours.
Oh, wow.
Until we kicked them out.
You had to kick them out?
Yeah, we'd be like, dude, we were doing the floors and trying to sweep under the tables and stuff, and they're still playing the damn game. I'm like, go home. Don't you have a house you can play this at or something?
No.
I
I
just don't.
sacrificed it all for my magic cards.
I don't. I just don't.
Meow.
Meow. He's got like a hump in one eye, and he's like, eh. But
Is
yeah,
that the typical Magic player?
I guess I don't know. I never really played Magic.
I own Magic cards. I've never played it. Alex and Colin are really into it.
I mean, it's been around forever, man. God.
Yeah.
Like 25 years or something. Longer than that, maybe.
No, either really close to around the time we were born.
Yeah, it was like 91 or something. So yeah, 20 plus years. It's been out.
Yeah.
It's about as old as we are.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about Magic. We're here to talk about Hearthstone, right?
Are we? Is that what we're doing? Is this a Hearthstone podcast?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I thought it was like a I Love Little Pony podcast.
A brony podcast?
Brony, yeah.
Brony cast?
Brony cast. Are we
What's wrong with
bronies?
Let's be
What's
objective here.
What's the deal with bronies? I don't understand.
You know what a brony is?
Yeah, but it's like, why?
They're like, I don't know. I don't know if they're legitimate or if they're like fictional
They're legitimate.
people.
There's
I think
fan
it's
sites.
like a mix of being hipster / trolling. Because some of the fans, at
Exactly.
least from like YouTube, they'll be like, "Oh, I love this, blah blah blah," but they don't know anything about the show. And it's like,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a mix of them trying to be cool or funny or something, and I don't know. It's just I don't like it. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think they're trolling.
This is not a brony podcast. This is actually a hardcore Hearthstone min-maxing strategy cast for Hearthstone. And we're going to talk about actually none of that stuff. This is a casual podcast and some interesting news. Like I said, happened over the weekend with BlizzCon and everything. And there were no beta keys given out last week due to BlizzCon. Just the business with that. The whole team and staff was occupied getting everything ready for the convention, which was huge. It took place in Anaheim Convention Center, which you've been to, Ryan, for the NAM.
Yeah, I went there 2010 for the NAM music convention. It's like this huge collection of the biggest artists in music and like companies that make instruments. Like Dean Guitars was there, and I was actually with the Dean Guitar booth, and I'm a huge fan of music, so walking around seeing a lot of the people that I grew up listening to was kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty big place.
Yeah, it's a very, very big place. I think it's perfect for BlizzCon. They do it there every year, right?
Well, they don't have a BlizzCon every year necessarily, but they always do BlizzCon there, as far as I know.
Well, every couple of years, rather.
Yeah. Well, looks that would be pretty cool if we can go next year.
Oh, yeah.
But we tuned in via the virtual stream, and a few cards are getting some adjustments. Release the Hounds is pending balancing, which is a hunter card that gives all your beasts +1 attack at least and charge. I don't have the card in front of me, but that's pending balance because that's a little that's a one-turn killer for sure.
I think it's +2.
You think so?
I think it's just for the turn, right? Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it's just for the turn, like just situational, like.
I mean, I have the thing up here. I don't know why I can't look it up.
But that is potentially turn ending. Late in the game, if you can lay down a couple strong beasts.
Oh, okay. It's Unleash the Hound. It's a hunter card. It's 1 mana, and it gives your beast +1 attack and charge.
So that was nerfed from.
No, it's pending nerfing.
Oh,
maybe.
Okay.
They don't know what to do with it yet, but they have acknowledged that it's a little strong.
Right.
The Starving Buzzard, which is a I don't think that's a hunter card, is it? It's strictly hunter? Man, not prepared, huh? Buzzard. That is a 2 mana, 2 attack, and 2 health hunter card. It's a beast, so whenever you summon a beast, you lay this card down, and its effect is constant. Whenever you summon a beast, you draw a card. That was nerfed, so it's now a 2/1, 2 attack and 1 health, rather than 2/2.
Right, it was 2/2 before.
Which makes that a little easier to deal with. Simply easier to kill, so you can kind of rein in the hunter power. And Mind Control is going to cost 10 mana, which is up from 8 mana, making that pretty much legitimately a one-turn thing. So it's going to kind of curve that a little bit. So at the very least, you might be able to play some 0 mana cards for utility. I don't know if Priest has any, like, for example, warrior decks have this 0 mana card that gives any minion charge. I don't know if Priest has anything like that, where that would work. Like if you used all your mana on one turn to lay down a 10 mana Mind Control, and then you gave that minion a charge, that would be pretty sweet. But I don't know if Priest has any of those cards.
I don't know. I think they have. Only a couple. I know they have Silence is 0 cost, but I don't think I have any of the other 0 cost Priest cards. I'm sure they have more than one.
Yeah. Well, at the Fireside Chat, they gave some interesting examples of some rejected cards.
Oh yeah.
Which I have a picture of. A few examples are like the Devouring Ooze, which is the battle cry, gain +1 and +1/1 for each game you've lost in a row. That's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Which essentially would mean if you lost 10 games in a row, this would be a 3-10-10. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then the Autopecker 4000, which is a 1/1/1, and it deals 1 damage to any player who mouses over the minion. Very interesting. And then the World Flipper X50, I think, which is a 1/0/3, and you flip your opponent's screen upside down. Which, if you know the keyboard shortcut for your computer, you could easily remedy by flipping your video upside down.
Wait, there's a shortcut to do that?
Yeah, I accidentally did it conversely in WoW all the time, especially during PvP with my keyboard shortcuts, and I'd be playing, and I would accidentally flip my screen upside down. You can do that via a keyboard shortcut.
What's the shortcut?
I can't remember. It's legend. It's mythical. We can't talk about it.
Yeah, it's like Fight Club.
And Google.
But yeah, and then they also introduced some new ranks. What are those, Ryan?
Oh yeah, there's 25 new ranks in ranked play now, which is
which level are you, by the way? You're like 2-star?
I just hit 1-star silver.
Oh, okay.
So, because I've played a lot of games, but I just now started doing ranked games. For some reason, I was gonna wait until the game actually released, but I figured that would be retarded.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, they're putting 25 new ranks into ranked play mode, and each month every player's gonna start at rank 25, which is, what do they say, the Angry Chicken, and then
yeah, that's the first rank you start out.
And then 24 is what, like Leopard Gnome, all that, and the portraits change every rank, and then
I actually have a photo, but it only has the portraits. So
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and rank 1 is the Hearthstone dwarf or whatever, the guy you see in the trailer and all that good stuff.
That's right.
And
the pictures don't really make much sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd figure Angry Chicken would be at least rank 15.
I guess.
But yeah, like you were saying the other day when we were hanging out and we were playing, and I finally started playing ranked mode, you were like, yeah, it might be a little easier because you're actually matched against people of similar rank to you.
Yeah, and like anyone of any skill set can play unranked just to get their daily quest out of the way and stomp all over noobs.
Right, exactly, and that's it. It would be like a toss-up. I'd play one game and it would be, I would completely steamroll them, and then the other game they'd just steamroll me. So it'd be like, it didn't make any sense. And I started playing ranked play, and I kind of noticed every game was more evenly matched, and it would be more epic.
Yeah.
And
And currently, there's no penalty for losing.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't show your total losses anywhere. It shows your total wins, but there's no like what is it called, like ratio anywhere. I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah.
But every time you win a game, you acquire a star, which is pretty cool. And with each new star, it furthers you to the point of actually ranking up, which is rad. I guess that goes for like the achievement whores that want to get new portraits and just rank up and all this good stuff.
Adds a unique little RPG twist to it.
Yeah, I mean, they got to add various things like that will that'll keep you wanting to, keep playing.
Yeah, like the carrot and stick action.
Yeah.
But each rank has its like own icon and medal, and win streaks may give like additional stars. And at higher ranks, you'll lose a star if you lose a game. And yeah, each rank has like 5-star levels. But ranks will reset every month at the ranks will reset every month at the start of the next season. And beyond rank 1 is a special rank, which is called Legend. And once you hit Legend rank, it cannot be lost until the season ends. And at the end of each season, if you participate in that season, you'll be given a new artwork for your card backs, like red artwork or something like that. And playing 500 ranked games with a specific class unlocks an animated golden portrait for your hero. Well, rather the animated. I don't know if there's more than one yet. But yeah, there was also some other arena changes.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, 1 second. Speaking of the golden cards, I really want that the golden elite Tauren chieftain card that they showed at BlizzCon. That card's awesome.
It's coming in a later patch. You and I are both gonna get it.
I hate you both. I watched BlizzCon and I don't get the ETC card.
Absolutely not. But you get to share in it with us because it gives you
the power to rock.
Cards. Yeah, exactly.
I want the power to rock.
You have the power to rock. You have the rock of power.
Whatever, dude. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of arena changes, which is awesome. Like the new keys. I like the new key system that they're doing.
Yeah. It's currently 9 wins, 9 keys.
Yeah, something like that. And every time you get more wins in arena, you get a better key, and then each key has a better reward set. Like you might get 2. I don't know exactly what they are, but you might get 2 card packs instead of 1, or more gold or more arcane dust or something like that.
Yeah.
But how many new keys are there? Like 12? Something like that?
There's 12. Well, there's 3 new keys, bringing it to a total of.
So there's a total of 12 keys.
Yeah, arena's going to be from rather than a 9-win game to a 12-win game.
Okay.
Yeah. And currently, and all this stuff is not taking place until the next patch, which, as far as I know at this time, does not have a release date. But that will include the Elite Tauren Chieftain special card.
It'll probably be after the open beta, I'd say.
You think so? That makes it. Well, it would be before, dude, so they can test it in closed beta and get it ready for open beta.
Well, I mean, even with open beta, it's still going to be in beta, so.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like it's releasing.
Be a bigger crowd to test it with. You're right.
Yeah.
But currently, it's just a 9-win game, arena, and you can pretty much at any time you can choose to just quit, kind of like in a game show, and just take the money and run, and forfeit your chance for even bigger prize, just to be able to get a pretty decent one right now.
Is that how that works now? Like if you had 4 wins and 2 losses, and you didn't want to have another loss, would the loss affect your 4 wins, or the prize you got? So if you left with 4-2, then you get a better prize than if you actually ended with 4-3.
So let's say you're sitting at 8 wins, and two losses, and for the 9th and final game, if you won it, you would get a 9-win prize, which is pretty good. That's lots of dust. It's at least one it's lots of dust. It's at least one card pack, and probably some gold. Now, it's either you get more gold than dust, or more dust than gold. I can't remember. But the difference is before you start that, you have 8 wins. I mean, you can cash in that 8 wins for a prize that's pretty similar to a 9-win prize. And it's much more rewarding to cash in that 8-win prize than lose and simply settle with an 8-win prize and 3 losses. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can make that 8-win prize more valuable if you choose to end the game rather than losing and ending the game. Now, statistically, and this has been kind of tracked, statistically, the difference between a forfeiture and an 8-win prize versus a 9-win prize is really just a difference in you get more gold or you get more dust.
Huh.
Because there's kind of an argument that turning in and just taking your 8 wins and going is kind of more valuable than winning 9 games. But they're really close.
Yeah. So it's either you want to take the risk or not.
Right. It's very it's very interesting. It's you're sweating bullets at 8 wins and 2 losses.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even get past 4 wins, so.
Yeah, I've only ever gotten as far as 5. We're certainly not claiming to be experts at this game.
No, I mean, even though I give sage advice every week.
Yeah.
But my tips work, so listen to my advice, please.
I listened to your tips and I actually lost like 6 matches in a row. So.
Well, I mean, the past tips have only been for you so that you would lose anyway. You know. Truth hurts, yo.
Right in the heart.
I stabbed you.
So, and some other news, some really exciting news actually. Android and iPhone are getting their versions of Hearthstone in addition to the iPad. So no matter where you play Hearthstone, you'll always be able to access the same cards and the same opponents, which means it's going to be cross-platform.
That's really great too, because I was kind of worried about that. I said in one of the coverage episodes of BlizzCon that I was afraid it was going to be a miniaturized and curbed
Simplified,
experience.
yeah, something like that.
But that's going to come the second half of next year, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they estimated, so...
That'll be really rad.
In Blizzard time, it'll probably come out after the movie.
Yeah, we'll probably have another president.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he'll play Hearthstone.
Hopefully.
But yeah, let's move on to some gameplay thoughts. So I've grown really impatient playing Hearthstone with... I'm a fast player. That's not to say I'm good, but I don't know. I just make... If anything, it's a handicap because I move quickly and I make quick turns and I'm ending my turn pretty quickly and I just know what I want to do and I know how I want to do it and I don't really necessarily dwell on it too much unless it's worth thinking about and I'm kind of like in a stuck position, but especially in the early turns like 3 or 4 so on, I know what I want to do and I get it done and I don't know, that just kind of sets the pace for me and I get really impatient with players taking forever to make their moves. And it's not that I'm necessarily going up against new players, because again, I'm not that far, just like 3-star silver. But I don't know, they just take forever, and sometimes I feel like they're doing it on purpose. And I feel like that metagame psychology plays a bigger part in this game than anyone chooses to acknowledge that often. For example, sometimes I like to hover over an opponent's cards or his portrait, which they can see highlighted, or hover over my own cards in a way that manipulates what they might think that I'm doing, or because you can watch your opponent's hand to see, if they draw something and they turn after turn, because they can't reorder their hand or their cards or anything visually. You can see turn after turn how they treat that card, like that card on the end that they won't play, that might be a mind control. You never know. And you gotta kind of watch out for that kind of thing, and um, be aware of the psychology involved, and you can kind of play back and forth. And I'd say that's a good quarter of the gameplay experience. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, I mean, that's all part of the game, though, right? Is antagonizing your opponent.
I guess. With the emotes, it's rather annoying.
Yeah, I mean, but they do have an answer to that, squelching you. But a lot of times I'll squelch them because I don't even like want to hear anything from them.
Right. Me too.
I know it's going to be something smug and annoying.
I'm a pretty sore loser, and I don't want to hear a well played.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he beats me and he's like, sorry. I do that a lot, by the way, but that's only because I'm proud of myself for actually winning a game.
You talk trash, but you're a sore loser. I'm the same way.
Exactly.
That's not good.
What's his, like the creator of the game, I forgot his name, but, or one of the creative directors, he was talking about, he's like, yeah, Hearthstone's a great game, it's meant to be fun, but it's always better winning, right? Which is true.
Oh, Eric Dodds.
Yeah, but that's true with anything, like nobody likes losing.
Yeah.
We're a species of elitist people, whether you like to believe it or not. Everyone wants to be better than everyone else.
I wish I could squelch you right now. No, I was losing a poor game. Playing a really bad sport too. He was beating me fair and square. I mean, of course it's fair and square, right? But he was beating me pretty badly, and he kept doing that whole sorry shit, like sorry that happened, and well played, and when I would take a long time to make my turn, he'd be like, well played. So I squelched him, and I was gonna lose next turn. So I was being a really, really awful sport, and I squelched him, and I just didn't do anything. I tabbed over to Tumblr. I'm just scrolling and just doing nothing else. And right when my the timer was about to go down and I was about to lose my turn because I was taking too long, I conceded. So yeah, I'm not a very good role model.
And that, my friends, is why they don't have chat.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah. But RNG, that is random number generation, plays a huge part in this game, and all of your RPGs and most of your games, whether you realize it or not. That is, lots of things could happen, like a factor of randomness could happen, particularly if you're playing any of your video games with a computer character, and they could do any one of their things, like Pokemon,
or
I don't know.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards, right?
Heart of the Cards, and it's random, anything can happen. And so we must pray to the RNG gods because they are not being kind to me. Yeah,
I agree.
I never get the cards I need. Top decking is the worst.
Heart of the Cards works sometimes. I know it's random and it's kind of not logical to think that way, but man, I was playing a game. It was like priest against, or I was a mage and I was playing a priest or something, and he was down to 10 health. I was top decking. He had like 6 minions on the field. Next turn, I was dead for sure. I was like, man, I either need to draw a taunt minion, but even if I do that, he's going to die and he's going to directly attack me and I'll lose, whatever. So I was like, the only thing that would actually work is a Pyroblast right now, and then I drew a Pyroblast. So I was like, oh yeah! So he was being smug the whole game, and I didn't squelch him. And then, like, he'd kill me and he'd be like, sorry about that. And he would always be like, well played. Like, after his turn, and he's like, oh, you're going to lose next turn. He was like, well played. And then I drew that friggin' Pyroblast, and I was like, well played. I'm sorry. And then I hit him with Pyroblast. And he didn't say anything. I knew he was probably just like, what the hell?
Oh man, the RNG is strong with this one.
Yes, sometimes.
Yeah.
That's probably the only scenario that actually happened, so don't think too far ahead.
But yeah, you and I were having a match. We were playing a tied game, and I was playing Warlock and you were playing Priest, and it was a pretty close game, I think, but it was for sure that I was gonna win, and I admittedly I didn't mean to. I chose to destroy you. We both had like really low health, like 3 health. Admittedly, I chose to destroy you with a Hellfire, which does 3 damage to everyone, and I had forgotten that I was gonna die too. But it worked out. It ended up being pretty funny because we both lost. We both blew up, and we had a tie game, and this has never happened to me before.
Yeah, me either.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was very hilarious. But we learned something pretty interesting about it. We both lost. There was no winner. We both had
There's
lost.
no tie. There's no winner. You just both lose.
Yeah. And we both just got less experience. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. And also another interesting thing is I found out that freezing minions does not delay their effects. For example, if you freeze a Demolisher, which at the end of your turn will throw out, it's either at the end of your turn or at the start of your turn, will throw out a barrel of 2 damage at any random enemy character. So if that thing is frozen, it does not affect it.
Right.
That still happens.
I think freezing just delays attacks.
You just can't use it yourself.
You just can't actually physically activate the minion.
Yeah.
Or if your hero's frozen and he has a weapon, you can't attack with that hero.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just halts.
But you can still armor up.
Right, you can still stack armor or buff them or anything like that.
And if you're a mage, you can still use your fireball spell.
Right.
It's not your hero directly attacking.
Yeah, you can use your hero power, but you can't attack if you have a weapon or anything with your hero.
Yeah. But your better bet for that is silencing the minion. But when the question of like the order of effects comes into play, like I asked a question in an earlier episode, like Ragnaros, he does 8 damage at the end of your turn, which is pretty awesome. But if he is cursed via a Warlock spell where he's going to die at that end of the turn, which happens first? Does he die before he gets 8 damage off? Well, here's the answer to that. When the order of effects comes into play, the animations happen one at a time for you to see, the player, for you to comprehend it and see it. But the game recognizes all things at once. So both things happen. He gets the 8 damage off, and he dies. So it's kind of it's really fair in that regard, I think. It's important to understand that because the game does not address any of these mechanics. A lot of the game is experience, like first-hand experience and witnessing, like, you know, what's broken, what's janky, or what's overpowered, you know, as far as mechanics go and that kind of thing. And you and I witnessed yesterday when I just happened to have something interesting going on with my warrior deck yesterday. I laid down a stealth card, and then I laid down a card that gave him taunt. I really just gave a taunt to a stealth minion. I had a taunt stealth, and that was so cool. And the other player thought, like, oh no, what am I ever going to do? How am I going to get past this taunt? Because you can't attack it because it's stealthed. Well, they only thought that. Turns out that stealth taunt minion, it's completely inactive. You can bypass it. It's like the only time that you can attack the other the player's minions or the hero.
If it's still stealthed, then you can bypass it and the taunt is ignored. But
right.
That poses the question of, what if you gave taunt to a stealth minion? Would it be the same effect? Like, would stealth kind of take precedent, or?
Well, as soon as you use that minion to attack, it would lose its stealth, and thus the taunt would come into effect. But until then, it simply visually looks like that, and that plays hell on their psychology if they've never encountered it before. And I won the game because of that, because they didn't know they could bypass it.
Yeah, that happened to me. I had a game after you like that, and and I had a taunt stealth minion, and I don't really remember how that turned out, but I ended up attacking with it. But if anything, it's really cool to me because you have two effects that are great, and you're kind of lying in wait, and you can kind of choose when you want the taunt minion out, even though he's already on the field. Like, if he has no minions out and you just kind of want to lay there and you don't want the minion to die and he has stealth, and he can just chill. And then if he's like, oh, I have 5 minions on the field, then you can attack one and then be like, well, now I got a taunt on the field.
Yeah, really neat stuff. That's something you would really understand with experience encountering it.
Right.
but good to know.
Yeah.
Listen to you too. Aww.
You dork.
Frickin' dork. All right, what do we got for the what do we got for the card court this week?
Well, let's see. I couldn't get in touch with you guys soon enough to get these cards, so I ended up picking them myself. And so I chose for the most favorable card of this week, and this is just opinion. Again, I could not even know what I'm talking about. I'm not a tournament-winning goon, but
yeah, we know.
Ragnaros.
Yeah, we
okay.
know.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
We know.
This is Knife Juggler was my card pick of the week, and I love this card. Knife Juggler is a 2/3/2. He's got really good attack for his mana cost, which is 2. So you get 3 attack for 2 mana. That's great, and his health is just fine at 2. And he has an ability, and cool artwork I might add, but he has an ability which makes this card invaluable. And it's a good bait card. It's going to make your opponent go out of their way to take care of this card if they can. It's going to make this card a priority. It's good for taking pressure off of you when it's not your turn, but when it is your turn, for dealing some good side damage. Because after you summon a minion with this card in the field, anytime you summon a minion, he throws a knife and deals 1 damage to a random enemy. That could be a minion or the hero himself, and this can bypass taunt. I'm not sure if this can hit stealth, or the fairy dragon, which can't be targeted by spells or heroes.
I think it does. I've encountered a lot with tabletop gaming in general. Like when I played War Machine, there's a lot of stuff like this where you can bypass certain effects like stealth or anything like that by not actually targeting the model that has the effect. You can bypass that effect. So I think you can actually hit a stealth model with this because you're not actually physically targeting it. It's at random.
I'm curious to know if when you hit when the stealth gets hit by this 1 damage, does it come out of stealth or not?
No, because the whole thing with stealth is when a stealth model attacks, it comes out of stealth.
Interesting.
I don't think if it's hit, then it comes out of stealth. I mean, that might be true because I don't think I've ever heard of that happening ever.
Yeah.
But that is kind of an interesting. We should experiment with that.
Yeah. Well, the artwork for the Knife Juggler is a little gnome with some nice facial hair. And he's balancing a knife on his finger, and when you lay him down, his emote is, "Here, let me balance this apple on your head."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my unfavorable card of the week is the Hunter card, Tracking. I see lots of hunters play this card, and I kind of cringe because I personally think that it's not a very good card. It's a lot like the Arcane Intellect for the Mage, where this card that you have in your deck, it takes up a space of another card you could have that could be more useful. And it draws 2 cards. So Arcane Intellect it's taking up space where you could have another card. So if you draw it, you play it, you draw 2 cards, all you've done is replace that card with another, and then you've used mana to do it on the process. So if it's a small step forward, it's only a very small step forward. That might save you in a turn maybe, but Tracking's similar, Tracking's worse. It's a Hunter card that's 1 mana, and it's a spell card. What it does is you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, the next 3 that you would draw, and you draw one of those cards. You pick one of them to keep, and you totally discard the others. You throw those away, to the best of my knowledge, and that's not good. What if you draw 3 very good cards? What if you draw a card you need? What if you draw a card that totally synergizes with your hand, but there's others that can save your life this turn?
Yeah, it's kind of like playing roulette.
I don't like it. That's not good, man.
I think, yeah, it's severely... Well, it only costs 1 as well, though. But if you're playing Priest, I think personally that these cards are kind of overpowered, like Mind Vision and Thought Steal, when you're actually taking cards from your opponent. So you're essentially getting free cards in your deck. So instead of 30 cards, if you use 2 Thought Steals and a Mind Vision, you have 35 cards in your deck, pretty much.
Yeah, I think having those kind of cards, which will give you more cards that you couldn't actually hold in your deck, would kind of offset the cost of this Tracking card. But I just don't see it as a very good card.
Yeah, I don't think Tracking's very good.
Like it's the difference between playing a 2-2-2 and a 2-3-2. You're just gonna want to go with the one that's better, and there are better options.
Yeah.
I can't seem to find whether or not the knife juggler will hit the fairy dragon or stealth beings anywhere. I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, I see.
I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
I don't know if anyone's
I did
experimented with
find a tip for this card. It has notable synergy with the paladin and shaman decks because they can always summon a minion with 2 mana. And to a lesser extent, it's good with warlock decks because they have a built-in draw engine. So
You know what card really goes with Knife Juggler as well? The Imp Master, because after the end of your turn, that one summons another imp, and boom, you're just dealing 1 damage.
Yep.
1 damage and 1 minion's all over the board.
Yeah, that's really
1-1-1-1.
That's really good as well. And it's always going to be good if you have cheap minions anyway, like 1 mana minions or 2 mana minions, to where if you get late in the game and you have this Knife Juggler, you can lay it down and then summon, 3. If you have 3 or 4 1-cost minions, then you can just do a lot of damage right there.
Totes
my goats.
So you got any advice for us this week?
Me? You're
Any more
asking
advice?
me?
Yeah, what's your big tip?
My big tip. I don't know if you want to hear about my big tip.
oh god,
Okay. Yeah, I have a tip this week. A lot of the people, like a lot of the players at BlizzCon that were playing in the tournament, like Hafu and Rekful and Trump and all them. Trump especially was talking about his favorite thing to do is take board control early. So I think he has a lot of low cost minions in his decks, maybe.
Yeah.
To where, if he draws it, he's like, okay, I can throw out 2 or 3 of these a turn, whatever. But that's important to kind of keep in check when it comes to your opponent. If you're playing against somebody like that has a lot of low-cost minions, or they can get early control of the field by just having a lot of minions out, it's important to kind of keep that under control, like keep the amount of minions they have on the field under control, because that just poses a problem later on as well in a lot of different scenarios. So
Yeah, you don't want their minions getting out of control.
exactly. I mean, if it's turn 3 and your opponent has 3 or more minions on the field, or even 2 or more, then you're going to want to focus on that rather than doing direct damage to them.
Especially if their minions have some particularly crazy abilities, like effects. Like the priest has that cleric card where anytime something's healed, the priest draws a card.
Yeah.
You want to get that thing gone.
Oh yeah, and you got to hit it with something with 3 attack or more, because you don't want to just try to take it out turn by turn, because the priest has that. Its hero power is a healing power, and it can just heal it up every turn and then draw a card from that. And you want to get rid of that, because that's a good way for them to get through their decks fast.
Yeah, if you have if your hero has a weapon or something, and you can attack that minion, the minion only has 1 health. So when you attack him with your hero,
1 attack.
It's so worth it to take him out for that 1 damage.
Oh yeah, it's worth it to get rid of a minion that you have that's cheap, and you can get out quick, like a little Murloc or something with 2 that has Frost Wolf Rider or whatever. He's got charge and he's the 3/1. I don't know. I think he costs 3, but that's a good example of just having a martyr you can just throw at him.
3 attack and 1 health, and he's the 3 mana.
Yeah, he's got charge, so you can just throw him out, and then boom, you get rid of the cleric.
Almost always certainly dies, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of a cheap 3 attack on something.
Yeah.
But yeah, board control. So you're gonna want to make a deck with crowd control. My recommendation is never building a deck without any crowd control. You can build a deck easily without taunts. Trump does it. I don't
know why or how.
You can do it though. You can have a burn deck, but I think you just always need some form of crowd control.
You have to have some defense as well as some crowd control. It's easier if you're certain classes, like a mage or a druid or something. But if you're playing like I don't know, something like a warrior or something, where there's not a whole lot of field control, and it's just more of, throw your minions out and burn him, then, I mean, that's why they have other tactics in those decks, like burn decks for warriors, because those are super effective, and before you can get control of the field, they just hit you in the face with everything they have.
Yeah. You're gonna want to put cards in your deck that they're gonna for sure destroy minions. They're gonna do a board clear, like Consecration will deal 2 damage to all minions, that kind of thing. Those are valuable. Or freeze cards to buy you time. Mages are really good at buying time.
Yep, for sure.
But let's move on to some discussion. It's been bothering me for weeks, this RNG thing. But do you think it's fair to blame losses on the luck of the draw, like RNG?
I think it is to a certain extent. Maybe and at the same time, okay, in the beginning, you don't have as many cards as your opponent most likely. So in that case, it is a small amount of RNG, is the reason why you lost, because they have more cards, so they have a higher chance of getting better cards than you.
Yeah, like a good example of this would be, let's say you put a 6 attack, a 7 attack, and an 8 attack card in your deck, and that's 3 is not bad. It's good to have those strong cards for later in the game, but let's say you draw 3 bad cards in the beginning, and you decide to return those 3 to the deck to try to draw 3 more, and you happen to get all your overpowered cards, and you can't use any of them for at least 7 turns. And that's going to for sure, let's say that for sure cripples you in the beginning and you lose the game. Is that because your deck didn't have enough synergy, or you just, bad luck?
Yeah. And
it's like blaming lag in Guitar Hero on your loss,
But see, that RNG is part of the reason why I chose last weekend. What's his name? The Mechatork guy?
Gelbin Mechatork.
Mechatork. That's why I chose him as the bad card, or the unfavorable card of the week, because it's like he can be good, but at the same time he can completely be useless.
Yeah.
So
the developer said the randomness is really what adds to the game, but it kills me often.
Yeah. And I mean, RNG is a problem in a lot of games, and for example, the Fire Mage in World of Warcraft is based on critical hits, and when you base anything off of a percentage or a chance of something happening, you're going to have issues, because there's always that possibility that you will get the short stick every time you try to do something.
Right, but
and you could.
The beauty with all that is when it shines bright as hell.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, it's fair, but it's not, because if you had the worst luck ever and you lost, or you got the worst possible card, or you got the worst possible random summon or whatever every single time for 5 games in a row, you would hate the game, versus the person who got the best card possible or the best random summon every single time. They will love the game. And it's like, RNG it's fair, but it's not. You can't say it's unfair, but you can't say it's fair either.
Yeah, it's neutral. It's a neutral concept.
Yeah.
We must pray to the RNG gods.
That's the only answer.
That's the only answer. But everyone's decks, though, are they're usually influenced by trends. And I'm not sure if this is a good or bad thing. It's just inevitable. It just happens. And they're influenced by trends, especially if you want to win. For example, mind control by the arguably very powerful priest right now. That's affecting everyone's deck. Everyone is going to imagine that a priest is going to have a mind control in their hand. And guess what? They're going to make their decks to be able to handle that at one point or another if they're intelligent. I don't think there's any possible way of making a deck with only 30 cards that can cater to every single strength that all the other heroes that you might go up against can throw at you. There's no way to do that with just 30 cards without having a full control deck that all that does is get you to turn 15 out of cards and fatigued because all you could do was go toe-to-toe, and then they beat you because you just got nothing else. And I've done that before with a draw deck, which is why I don't think draw decks are necessarily that good. And so these trends, which are especially set into stone, especially to popular competitors like Trump and Artosis, you can bet that people are going to be trying to use their decks they used at the tournament, thinking those are the best decks, when those guys have learned from those decks and are going to have even better decks tomorrow, for example. And so I wonder, like, can copycat decks like that, can they ruin a class for a season? Like, is Trump's Druid deck, is he going to ruin the Druid class because everyone's going to copy him? It's going to saturate the community, and people are going to basically make decks around that to handle, and so on and so forth. What do you think?
I think that's I think that will happen because it happens in a lot of the professional communities of any game. For example, in League of Legends, when a pro player plays a champion that's actually really bad, they'll play for fun. They'll play a really bad champion against people that are worse than them, and they'll do extremely well because they're just that much better than the people. But the normal people who aren't so great at the game will see the professional player doing this and copy it, and then they lose. That makes other people lose matches because they're using a character that's not so good. Or if you translate it into Hearthstone, they would use... It's not team, so it's not the same thing. You wouldn't really affect anyone but yourself, but you kind of see what I'm getting at? Like,
yeah.
If you try to copycat a professional player or anyone that's winning with a particular strategy and you don't execute it properly, or you don't get the same luck with your card pulls, it ruins the experience of the deck and the whole situation altogether.
Right. If you don't execute it correctly, and if you don't get a decent draw, at least a decent draw, then you're gonna think that it doesn't work, and you're gonna think that there's nothing special about it. But the key is to execute it correctly, and if it's a burn deck and you're playing not a burn, like you're reluctant or something, then there's no point in playing it.
Yeah, and newbie players that are going to copy the professional competitors' decks because they think that's going to win them games, because that's the go-to deck. That's template deck. Template decks don't work. I don't think template decks work at all. You can see on the forums that people like, this deck got me into 3-star masters and all that with this or whatever, and it's pretty cheap, and all you need is these cards. It's like if someone gave you huge pecs and muscles one day, just because you had those, it wouldn't mean you knew how to use them. You don't know why they chose this card, or maybe they chose it for one particular instance. Maybe they chose it because they knew, like in the tournament, all these players knew who they were going up against, and they had a fair idea of the kind of decks they were making. Like, someone made a priest deck called Turn 8. That's talking about mind control. So they would design a deck that catered to a mind control. For example, have a Faceless Manipulator in there, which copies an opponent's card. Earlier today, someone laid a Lord of the Arena, and I laid a Faceless Manipulator and copied the Lord of the Arena, which is a huge taunt card. And then I killed his Lord of the Arena. And then he used mind control and took my Lord of the Arena back. And then I'm like, well, shit.
Exactly.
But I don't know. Just these trends are interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how these progress and change, because they're going to. It's going to be flavor of the month. I'm telling you, especially with the seasonal type of gameplay that's coming. Do you think it's worth holding off on crafting until the game is much more balanced and everything is kind of more set in stone, like crafting your legendaries?
No.
Because what if you craft something good and it gets nerfed?
No, I mean there's so much to craft though. Like I think it's good to wait until you have enough to craft a legendary. Like, you shouldn't be crafting, common cards or anything like that that you could get out of a pack easier. So I think you should save up to 1,600 every time, craft a legendary, use that legendary, and then save up to another legendary, because a lot of the cards that we saw in the tournament were legendaries, like Ragnaros or any of the dragon aspect cards that we saw.
Yeah, but those they always had the cards to synergize. Like, having a legendary is not like a cheap win. Those
Right, but
largely depend on having synergizing cards.
right, but if you have a Ragnaros on the field, then it's hard to get rid of that unless you have some sort of mind control or anything like that. So if you throw Ragnaros on the field, especially if you have a deck like if you have a Ragnaros in like a Druid deck where Druids have the capability of getting a lot of mana crystals really fast, then that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
If you're in arena play and you get a couple of the convergence cards or whatever that give you the 2 mana just for that turn, and then you have some wild growth cards or whatever they are that give you an empty mana crystal, and then you have a Ragnaros in there and you draw him and early in the game, that's a big problem on the beginning of turn 3 and you got a Ragnaros on the field.
Yeah, you've changed my mind. I won't wait. Speaking of the druid and the mana crystal thing, I played a druid earlier today. He like turn 3 or 4, he had at least 7 mana crystals because he played all those cards, but I won, and that's because he was top decking by that point.
Yeah, I mean that is a problem. We've talked about that before. Like if you throw everything at the opponent at one time, then that's kind of like a double-edged sword. Because if you're playing against a mage or something, and you're like, haha, I got 8 mana and I threw out Ragnaros or whatever, and then he's like sheep, then you're kind of like, okay, well, I suck.
Yeah, you might as well show them your hand.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you have no hand.
I have no hands. I play with my feet.
Mm-hmm. I wish.
Yeah. So what's up with the MOBA scene, Rashard?
In the MOBA scene right now, I guess since League of Legends is the largest one, I'll start there. Season 3 of the League of Legends championship just came to a close. I believe it ended. Well, it ends tomorrow. The winners this year was T1. They're a pretty good team, obviously.
How long does the season last?
Well, the season lasts like months, but the championships only last about 1 month.
Oh, I see.
The whole entire community are in the season. Like season 4 will start in like a week from now, but it won't end until like I don't know. It depends on how quickly certain teams arrange and go through the ranks. It's different every time. But there's a lot of major changes happening to like balance changes, map changes, item changes, and all that stuff. So it's pretty exciting right now. It's kind of like a new expansion for every time the season changes, because different characters will have their time to shine and different play strategies work and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Apparently, Valve's Dota 2 has a Halloween event called Dire Tide that I think it happens every year. And this year, Valve largely underestimated the desire for that, so they kind of just skipped over it without telling anyone because they were working on new content, like a patch or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they didn't even talk to the community about it. So the entire community was pissed, and they acted absolutely childish, going as far to make fun of Valve, like calling them a different name, like Volvo, so much to the point that Volvo Car Company got involved and was posting like, Valve, your fans want Dire Tide. That kind of thing, and people were on Barack Obama's Facebook page, I think, blaming him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it got really out of hand.
Wow.
And because you play these MOBAs more than me or Ryan ever do, you're obviously in touch with these communities, and so like I feel like from the outside looking in, people that don't play these games, the communities are the worst. Is that uphold anything? Is that true?
To be honest, I don't think any community in gaming as an entire, any community is worse than the Call of Duty shooter typical rager 11-year-old, like, you know what I'm talking about.
Bro.
So Bro of Duty
Yeah,
communities are
Bro
the
of
worst.
Duties.
Yes, they're the worst by far, at least from my experience. Like, it's rare for like crazy stuff like death threats and racial slurs being thrown around in a game of League. Like, you actually meet. I've actually met a lot of cool people through League of Legends, whereas in Call of Duty, I think in like the 3 or 4 years that I've played it, well, not just Call of Duty, but multiple shooters online, Battlefield, Gears of War, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think I've added maybe 2 people from a game in all those years. And it's like every single lobby that I'm in, there's one person, at least one person, that's like freaking out with voice chat, calling everybody this and that.
Yeah.
And you go on the forums and everybody's trolling. There's no like if you ask a question, there's like, I can't believe you don't know that, freaking noob, blah blah blah. But in League of Legends, they actually have like a lot of things in place that reward players for being good people. So whether it's because people are doing it to gain something, or if they're just doing it because they're actually genuine people, they'll give you advice because there's a option after the game to honor a player for teaching you something about the game. If they give you tips on a character or an item build, you can reward them with an honor point after the game, and once they reach a certain amount, they get like banners on their loading screen saying that this person has taught a lot of people how to play the game and they're respected, they're honorable opponent in defeat or victory. And so it encourages a positive vibe in the game. So
Would you say the communities are maybe not as bad then as it looks to the rest of the world?
I can't speak for Dota's community because I honestly have never even played Dota 2. Because I played Dota 1. I played Dota 1 for years, but I never, because League of Legends came out in between Dota 1 and Dota 2. I kind of got sucked into League of Legends and never really even had the motivation to go into Dota, especially since League of Legends is so much easier than Dota. But Valve, their community is notorious for making fun of people, and like they make fun of the mistakes that Valve makes. Like they want them to release Half-Life 3. So a popular meme online is anytime somebody says anything, they're like, Half-Life 3 confirmed. Because they want people, they want it so bad that they're like, oh, so I went to the store every day and I bought 6 oranges. 6 oranges divided by 2 equals 3. Half-Life 3 confirmed. It's like, what?
One of the developer's birthday is he's 50, and then 50 minus 47 is 3. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yeah, it's sometimes like with those things it's hilarious, but I mean there's always the people that take it too far and then they ruin it. So I would say Valve's community is worse than League of Legends, but I still don't think it's to the level of Call of Duty or more like Xbox Online community rather.
I would argue that Valve is not necessarily a bad company. They might have made a mistake with this, but they're pretty transparent about the fact that they made a mistake. I wouldn't argue that they're the bad company, so much so that their community of players is just phenomenal. It's huge, and that's a very volatile concoction. You got to keep that in check. You got to herd that. And I think them maybe forgetting for just 1 second how large their player base was and how dangerous that can be if you don't placate them properly. That got out of hand, and I think they'll definitely learn a lesson from that.
Yeah.
But what else is new in the scene? Anything else?
I mean, of course, Heroes of the Storm, but we already talked about that in previous episodes quite a bit.
Is that your new favorite game?
I'm gonna be.
I want it to be.
I'm gonna be all up on that game for sure.
For the first week.
Yeah, I really want them to release Sylvanas as a character so bad. She's probably my favorite character in the entire like Warcraft universe.
Same. What was that you were looking at the other day, not Richard, Ryan? Was that Uther Lightbringer or Tyrion? It was like the lumberjack version.
Oh yeah, I saw Uther Lightbringer, the lumberjack version. So he had he had like a flannel on and a beanie, and then he had a like an axe. His mace looked like an axe, and it was hilarious.
It's awesome. There's different skins.
I love the skins. Yeah, like Diablo has one skin where he's like a giant murloc, and then Uther has one skin where it's Uther Lightbringer if he was in StarCraft.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it looks really, really awesome.
That's gonna be so rad.
Yeah.
We have to maybe link that in like on our Facebook page or something.
Totally.
So people can see that.
That open beta is not. All right, let me start over. Beta signups are available to do now. I have no idea when the beta is going to begin, but you can definitely go and sign up for that beta, which is very important that you do so immediately, so you don't forget about it. Have you guys done that already?
Yeah, I did that when they announced it.
Yeah. What about you, Richard?
It sounds like I'm better.
But as far as time things go, it's not that far off in time until we get the next generation consoles, and that's the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. So what are you looking forward to?
Me personally, PlayStation 4, of course.
But what about it?
I mean, like I said earlier, I like the controller. The DualShock 4 looks great. I like the exclusives more that Sony has, and there's a lot coming from Sony. Like they said, there's already 32 studios or something working on games, and then there's next year alone they're planning on releasing 150 exclusive games or something like that. And it just, I don't know, I've always been a fan of Sony, and they have some of my favorite franchises that are exclusive. Like I'm a Infamous fan. I like that universe. I like the Jack and Daxter universe if they ever choose to bring that back or anything like that. Anything Insomniac.
Such a good franchise.
Oh yeah.
The Ratchet and Clank one.
Right, yeah, Ratchet and Clank. I was gonna say anything like that. Mark Cerny's game looks really good. What's it called? Freaking with the monster guy who like is built up of blocks or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
No, wait, yeah. Is it Knack?
Knack, yeah.
Clack.
And Mark Cerny's a legend anyway, man. He's the system architect on the PS4, so he knows a lot about it. He's making his own games for the PS4. Knack is his first one, and he worked on some of the best games I think ever. You know, like Spyro. He worked on Crash Bandicoot. He worked on Jack and Daxter.
Oh man.
Ratchet and Clank. All these legendary platforming games for just exclusive to the PlayStation, and he's like kind of the captain behind the system. So I think there's going to be a lot of promising games coming from Sony, not only in the first major year for the console, which will be next year, 2014, but just in general.
Yeah.
And I don't think Xbox can compete. So.
What do you think?
Yeah. I'm excited about the fact that you can play mostly PS1 games, but PS1, 2, and 3 games on the PS4. And you'll be able to stream the older games like to your console.
Really?
So it won't take up space on your hard drive to play the older games, but you'll be able to play them.
Where are you going to be streaming it from? Like your account or something like that from your
I would I think you're gonna it would just, I think you would have to purchase it and then it streams it to your PS4 or whatever PS4 you're logged into. I don't know if they're gonna have the option. I'm sure they would, just because of like internet issues because it would be dumb if you bought something and couldn't play it unless you had an internet connection.
Yeah.
Xbox.
But they got some pretty good launch titles for Xbox, like Forza, Rise, Peggle 2.
Forza
Did you?
is
Okay,
not.
wait.
Did you say Forza?
Did you say Peggle 2?
Actually, that got delayed apparently.
Oh, that content.
Didn't they have an in-game Peggle in WoW? Do you guys remember that?
I didn't play it.
They also
I would
had,
play that sometimes.
They had Plants vs Zombies in WoW. I
Did
played
they?
that. Yeah, you get like this adorable little flower pet thing after you beat it. It's pretty cool.
And then you can like use like connect with Zumba.
Oh God.
It's really hard to be Xbox advocate. Actually,
It is. It's hard.
It is, man. The price point's higher. You don't get actually you do get a headset, but I don't know. Microsoft is so like I feel like they don't care about their customers as much.
Yeah, it feels like
as
money grabbing.
Yeah, it feels like the only thing they want is for people to buy everything. That's why Xbox Live costs, however much a month, and you have to pay every month. PSN, playing online for PlayStation has been free since back in the PS2 days when you could connect that to the internet and play online for free, all that stuff. And,
but guys, come on, the Xbox One needs a mandatory day one update to do anything. You can't beat that.
I think that's going to be in the
feature.
PS4 as well.
Yeah, but so like Target accidentally sent a bunch of folks their Xbox One consoles early.
Oh boy.
Now they can't do anything with them. Like it requires that day one update, and that day one update is not available, so they can't do anything with it. They try to post anything on YouTube, and those quickly get taken down. And those people have been banned, at least temporarily. And now, when people ask the Sony guys what if they were going to ban people for getting maybe a PS4 early, which needs a day one update also, but it can do a little bit more, he simply said no. We're not going to ban players for getting a PS4 early. So it's like these little quips back and forth that are making this whole thing really interesting.
Yeah, they're like, no, we're not going to do that because
I love
we're the good guys.
I love Sony's attitude towards it too. Like when E3 was going on and Sony had, I think Sony's press conference was second, or no, I think they went first. I'm not sure, but they had their press conference. They brought up, the whole $400 price point, and everyone cheered. Everyone went crazy, and they were like, "You don't have to be online to play." All this other stuff, just like pretty much slapping Microsoft in the face with their wieners, and then and then Microsoft's
Hot dogs, right?
Yeah, right. They're kielbasa wieners from the store.
Food.
Anyway, yeah, food. Yeah, they do that, and then they were like, Xbox comes on, and they're like, well, you can do this and that, and maybe, and then everyone's just like, and Xbox One or Microsoft was like, yeah, they had that whole thing with sharing the games, how you had to, when you bought a game, it's pretty much locked to that console, so I couldn't be like, hey man, you want to borrow Forza, and I'm like, oh wait, I can't because it's locked to my console, haha, sucks for you. And then
want to borrow Forza anyway.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But then Sony came out and they're like, well, we're gonna make this video to kind of make fun of Microsoft. So they made a video. It's like a 20-second long video or whatever, and it's like Yoshida comes out and he's like, here's how you share games with PS4, and it has like this awesome screen, and it's like step 1 of sharing the game on a PS4, blah blah. It's like fireworks or whatever. And then it just shows him and some other guy, and he gives the guy the game, and he's like, here you go. And they both just look at the camera and smile.
I saw that. That was
like the coolest thing ever. And then I'm sure that made Microsoft extremely upset.
Yeah,
loads of folks in the industry are like saying like these back and forth jabs are like really childish. I couldn't disagree more. This is so healthy for the video games
It's
industry.
good sportsmanship. It's good competition. Yeah, when Sony comes out on top, I'll be right next to them.
I mean, it doesn't
So-
really matter who comes out on top as long as like they're close enough to be able to compete. As
Right.
long as they're competing for us and not for themselves. Like as long as they're competing for us to buy their stuff, like trying to impress us, it's so healthy because if any one of them failed, then there would be like kind of the monopoly effect a little bit, and they would no longer have to compete so much for our dollar, and we would not benefit from their aggressive aggressive movement on trying to make the best possible stuff available to us. It's so good for the community.
Oh yeah, it's good for the player.
Yeah.
One more feature that I did like about PS4 is the ability to, like, your friends can spectate you playing a game, and they can actually take control of the game from their console.
Wow.
Like some desktop viewer stuff.
Yeah, kind of like that. If you're like, say you're like, your friends beat this game and he's really good at it, and you're stuck on a part, you're like, hey man, can you tell me what to do here? And then if you still can't do it, he's like, just let me control the character, and then he does it for you. Like, that would be awesome. Like,
I would do that to troll somebody. Like Dev's like, man, I can't. Like, you want to watch me play this part? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I just sneak in, take control, and then kill him repeatedly.
you just jump off the edge. Oops.
Yeah. Oh no,
Think
how
I'm
did that
lagging.
happen? You suck.
I'm lagging.
What'd you
Yeah.
say about a platinum trophy? Oh, not anymore.
I think that's awesome too. Like, and I think Sony's implementing a lot of awesome concepts into the system, like the whole cross-game chat. Like, you can talk with 8 people. Like, say you're playing Diablo 3, and you're playing with 3 other people. You're having a 4-player match. You can all talk during the game, cross-game. You don't have to have some crazy thing going on. And they have I like the controller, like I said like 5 times before, how they have the share button,
Yeah.
which they have certain processing chips. Like, they have an 8-core processor, I think, and each chip, there are smaller chips that are solely intended for certain purposes. Like, they have a chip made just for streaming games and uploading games and using the share button and making all these videos and all this crap.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Like, they're kind of giving everyone the tools to be a streamer.
Yeah, hopefully the saturation of all these newfangled streamers on the scene is not going to drown that. The App Store gets something like 400 apps a day added to it, so any developers hoping to make some money off of that, they can no longer do it because there's just the community's so large, and it's hard to be famous on YouTube anymore because the community's so large, and so on and so forth. These people making money off of streams, they're gonna have to compete a little bit more for their ability to get paid to sit home and play video games all day.
Yeah, well,
Maybe.
I don't know.
I would like it because, like the video game consoles, competition's good. But yeah, we got an email in regards to the consoles
Yeah, we did.
from Gabriel. You want to read that for us?
Yeah. This is pretty awesome. Gabriel wrote, "Hey guys, with the next-gen consoles around the corner, what are you most afraid of that could go wrong with the consoles at launch? For me, it's got to be the PlayStation Vita remote play. Doesn't work with the PlayStation 4. Awesome job on the podcast, by the way. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, personally, I think I agree with the whole PlayStation Vita controller thing because they're going to have to... They're already sending out updates now, from what I understand, to the PlayStation Vita, and they've been doing so for a week, I think, getting it ready
Yeah.
for PS4 owners so that they can do that. So I think that's going to work pretty well at launch, probably. I'm just hoping... I know there's going to be some sort of problem with online play right out the bat, I'm sure.
I mean, of course, like the online stuff is so janky. It's hard to prepare for that, for the demands on that, which is why I think Hearthstone. That's not nice to say in chat, Richard. Which is why I think Hearthstone is kind of ramping up with the invites, letting a little bit of people in one at a time, so they can kind of gauge accurately what the demands on the servers are. I think them being unable to do that necessarily with these consoles is going to make the internet I mean, they're promising all these apps that are going to be available for download and day one launches that are going to be available to download digitally. You're absolutely naive if you think any of that's going to work very well. And if it does, I will stand corrected, and that would be absolutely awesome. But I still think for this industry, there's just not enough experience with all that stuff, and it's way too early to go full digital and hope that and expect 100% successful results, because it wasn't that long ago. And I know the systems are like 10 years old, but it wasn't that long ago when GTA launched, and for a very long game that took like 8 hours to download for some people, it didn't work. Day one digital sucks. I still think it's really rather early for that, and hardware is not going to change that. Hardware is not necessarily the problem. The problem is their infrastructure, and they really need to fix all that stuff up. If the PS3 is not going anywhere. They're still going to support that for a while, and the PSN network is still going to work just fine on the PS3, I imagine. And that was not quite ready for day one digital stuff and complete full digital game. Wow. Yeah, I know, right? The networks are just not ready for this kind of thing yet. And I'm really hoping that I'm proved wrong, but I just think it's very naive to expect to be able to play on day one when you get your console from Amazon or whatever, to be able to download those games and be able to play them within an hour. You're looking at several hours, especially with that update, and everyone's going to be trying to get that update at the same time. If you are caught up with MMO launches of any sort or anything like that, you know how difficult this stuff is and how challenging and to your patience it is. So you just need to be patient, and that is the grain of salt that you take with this. And as far as the Vita remote goes, I expect that to be entirely broken for a while. It's not going to work well. It's just not.
Probably not. Greg, I mean, like you were just saying, that's how it is with everything, man. Like, we come from a community where we play MMOs. I'm sure a lot of our listeners do as well, being Blizzard fans, Hearthstone fans. When there's a massive amount of people trying to play this thing, trying to get this thing set up from day one, there's going to be a lot of problems. So anyone listening should definitely expect that from both Microsoft and Sony.
Yeah, about the time that these consoles, the pre-order influx is over with, and the shelf the shelf.
What's wrong with you?
I know.
You suck.
Wow. The consoles on the shelf that are not pre-ordered, I mean, those are going to be swept up.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be hard to get for weeks. By the time these are available to people, and again, these companies are promising that they're going to do a great job with that, and you're going to be able to get your console even if you didn't pre-order soon. I can't remember, but I think they're still promising that you'll be able to get one day one even if you didn't pre-order or something very near that. But that's just going to be weeks until you get that. I mean, look at the Wii U. I mean, not the Wii U. Don't look at the Wii U. Don't even look at it.
Don't even think about it.
Don't even think about it.
Please don't.
It's going to be weeks before you get a console if you didn't pre-order. And hopefully all the pre-orders come out well, so you do get them. That's such a gamble to think, what would you say, millions of people are going to have a pre-order shipped to their door via Amazon?
Oh, no.
I mean, that blows my mind that that's even possible. Like the warehouse space that requires alone, the staff that requires to process, the hours and hours of work required to get all that ready.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's ridiculous.
Chaos.
That gives me a migraine. I mean, that's going to be great to hear the stories that are coming about from this in the customer service department. I didn't get my console, or my console's broken, or I ordered two, or I don't know. Oh, man.
You shouldn't even be... You should know better than to complain, because they're not going to be able to help you at all.
Nope.
You're going to have to wait.
Yep.
But we come from a society of impatient people, so...
Especially us Americans.
America.
But yeah, by the time you can get this on the shelf, all that network stuff, I imagine, is going to be pretty much solved or brought up to speed, because this is a huge investment. They don't want to lose this money. They don't want to lose followers. If you bought both systems and you get them both shipped to your door and one's not working, you're going to play the other one. Simple as that. And like a mother with a newborn baby, you're going to start to bond.
Speaking of mothers, I want to give a shout out to my mama right now. She just friggin' texted me and said she got the new Call of Duty.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got my support.
But she's a Call of Duty bro. She's one of the bro of duties.
Bro of duty.
She's like, I only like shooting people in the head. I'm like, oh, okay, Mom, cool.
Brosafina.
That's nice.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up. We had an iTunes rating, 5-star. We're going to read on the show. Gabe50773 gave us a 5-star rating. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
He said rather extraneously, I don't understand why other podcasts even try to compete.
That's
well,
awesome.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. We know our quality isn't the best. We don't have the best equipment, but we do what we can. We're just a couple guys that like Hearthstone and video games, and we try what we can. But thank you. Keep that up.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback, guys. We really appreciate it. It helps.
Totally. So where can people find you at if they want to get in touch with you about your special drum skills or that kind of thing?
Well, you can always email me. My email is ryanmdrover@gmail.com. And also, I have a Twitter. I think it's at Ryan_M_Drover. So, yeah, hit me up.
Sweet. What about you, Rashard?
I am on a bunch of stuff. I'm kidding.
Good.
You can find me on Twitter at ExodusRB. You can also find me on my YouTube page, which is just youtube.com/Rashard Burrell. And that is about it for me.
Excellent. The show is on Twitter, and we did a bunch of tweeting for BlizzCon over the weekend. Quite a few pictures and good stuff in there. In my attempt at being funny, that's at Discussion Show. One word, Discussion Show. And email your questions to us at Duelist Discussion. Make sure that Duelist is plural. DuelistDiscussion@gmail.com. And then our site is duelistdiscussion.squarespace.com, where you can find all of our shows. You can email us from there. You can check out our photos and our pretty faces and make fun of us. There are no comments because we don't want to hear about it, though. And you can see us on Facebook at facebook.com/duelistdiscussion. And thanks for all your support and thanks for listening. We will catch you next week.
Yes, we will.
One more thing before we go.
What's up?
There will be, for all the League of Legends players, there will be RP card giveaways soon. They're in the works. So stay tuned in the next couple episodes to hear about that.
This is breaking news. All right, guys, take it easy.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.